Okay, this is edition 2 of the Reflections and Confessions of the $50 billion man. We're just leaving Guthrie Castle environs on our way to the airport, where Sally and I are going to fly to Oslo, and then our next stop is the magnetic North Pole, where we will be dog sledding and amongst other activities, and the most important activity will be we're renewing our vows, being married at the magnetic North Pole, having already been married at the South Pole a few years ago. So in theory, we'll be the only couple, according to the Guinness Book of Records, that has been married at both poles. The seminar just ended a couple of days ago, and the last people left about 6 o'clock Saturday evening, which was yesterday. Today's Sunday, and it was we had 22 people, a full house. We had one woman, but we had people from South America, Australia, China, Canada, the United States, Britain, of course, and we had a gentleman that was from Dunfermline, Scotland, where my idol that I look up to very much, Andrew Carnegie's from. He now lives in down south in England, and we had various business models. I stand corrected. The seminar ended Wednesday. Today's Thursday. I'm so used to the seminar ending on Saturday, and but it ended Wednesday. The last people left about 6 o'clock. But we had attendees from all over, and we had a full house. We had one woman, and 21 guys. We also had the Pakistan and India as well. One of the interesting sidebars is one of the gentlemen that attended the seminar, a guy who lives in actually Colorado, is from East Los Angeles. Now, we've had a number of people from East Los Angeles over the years, but we've never had anybody that was from about 5 or 6 blocks from where I was, my house. And we Google mapped it, and we saw where he was from, and it was quite remarkable that he came from just down the street from where I came from. And he attested to the badness of the area, and the gangs, etc. And he came about 15, 20 years after I did, but it was equally as bad. In fact, it might have been a little better when I was there. It hadn't deteriorated. But it was interesting. We joked around when I was talking about the experiences that I had as a very young kid. He could relate to them. The attendees, and you can look at the testimonials for yourself. The attendees had a lot of energy, and they had a lot of different business models, really unique business models. Just 2 of which were, we had 2, not 1, but 2 guys that were into legalized marijuana, the manufacturing of it, the growing of it, the dispensing of it, both for medical purposes, and their model is ready to expand beyond medical purposes, because a number of states in the United States have already legalized it, and it's on the agenda for a number more, a few more in the next couple of years. So that's our first legalized drugs business model that's been through the seminar. And we had 2 marijuana aficionados, one from Colorado and one from California. We also had 4 or 5 internet gurus, 2 of which had been very, very successful and created quite a bit of revenue. And then we had one big cloud, big data person, and that was a woman, IBM trained, a lady who's been in the business for 20, 25 years. And then we had a mixture of other devotees promoting different business models. In all cases, I told them whether I thought it would work, whether they should turn the key and walk away. We had a few what I call pills and potions, healthcare. We had a couple of fitness guys, but all of them had taken the step to try to better themselves. Now, as I commented in a tweet to social media early this morning when I was packing, that these podcasts, these reflections and confessions of the $50 billion man, are going to date back as far as 6 decades that I've been a high performance person, in the late 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and now the 2010s. The one thing that I've seen that's constant, that hasn't changed, is that most people don't understand or underestimate the sacrifices required to be a high performance person, the sacrifice that's required to make it against all odds, not just in capital, but in human emotions and what I call the emotional bank account. This group is no different, and you can watch some of the testimonials, and they can talk about, not just being fired up or energized, which is a given, but the steps that they have to encounter, because we give them a war plan, not an action plan, but a war plan going forward, and what they should do, what they must do, and quite a number of things that they absolutely cannot do and have any chance of super success. We also, this group being unusual, we had a 19-year-old second-year student from Oxford University who was quite bright and didn't really have any business model, but he wanted to know what he should be doing or studying, or additional classes he should take at Oxford University, or additional internships that he should consider his next couple years. He's working on, and he will get ultimately when he leaves, if I understood him correctly, both a bachelor's and a master's in biochemistry. So he's reading some difficult subject matter, at least for most. Chemistry was very hard for me. It wasn't so difficult for my wife Sally, but it was certainly hard for me. His perspective was quite interesting, being only 19, and the oldest in the seminar, I believe, was 48. And we had 3 men of God, or what, as I sarcastically referred to them as Bible thumpers, in the audience of 22, one of which was in the managed securities or commodity trading, one of which was in food manufacturing, and one of which was in real estate development. And so it was an interesting perspective. But the young lad from Oxford, when he asked what he thought of the other people, because I told him not to make friends, because even the best people at the seminar had bad habits that they were going to have to get rid of, and he was young enough not to have formed too many bad habits. But just think about what you were doing at 19. And I related the young man that attended the one-day seminar I gave for Brian Rose at the Ritz about a week and a half ago, how the 16-year-old kid who came to spend a half a day with us at the seminar, and that he had written me that he had gone to the Rolls-Royce dealer to what we call smell the leather. And I commented again, up until that time, I've been telling people to smell the leather for 22 years, and less than that many people, less than 5 people have actually done it. Now I'm told that a number of people, maybe 100 people have done it since then. They've gone to Ferrari dealerships, Rolls dealerships, and other exotic car dealerships to see what it's like, sit in the car, get their hands on the steering wheel, etc. But the young Oxford man said that it was consistent with what he wrote, or excuse me, what he read in my book, and it was consistent with what he heard on my podcast, that virtually all of the people that attended the seminar admitted in their private time when they're amongst themselves that they totally underestimated how hard it was and the work that was involved to be a high-performance person, and that whilst a few of them had attempted the 4-hour work week, which was a very famous book about 10 years ago, that it didn't work. The 4-hour work week didn't work. One of the comments that I make, and I've made on blogs, newsletters, and in seminars for 22 years, is that most of you have been taught that income property, passive income, is good because it works while you sleep. And I contend very strongly that passive income makes you lazy. And people that own houses, income property, and apartment buildings or commercial buildings, that the money's coming in as they sleep, so to speak, is not a recipe for being a high-performance person. It's a recipe for being a retired person that really doesn't want to work anymore, and that it makes you lazy. And it changed the paradigm of a lot of the guys who had made a few dollars with income property. Another comment or another thing that was pretty obvious, seeing the dichotomy between the students. We had another student, we had a 22-year-old student from Australia, and he commented that his whole mindset of what he had thought was success had changed dramatically. And I told him what I would do going back to school. I told both of the young university students not to drop out of school, but they should finish school since they were there. But the one thing I told not just the two university students, but I've been telling people, all my life that I've coached, that whilst you're told at that age or in your early and mid-20s, and sometimes even in your late 20s, that you've got plenty of time, don't worry about it. You've got plenty of time. Don't be in such a hurry. That pretty soon you're 30, pretty soon you're 40, and pretty soon you're 50, and you've wasted a good portion of your life. So I contend and I promote, as I did, to be in a hurry, not to be laid back in your 20s, and certainly, and even in your teens. So that was a pretty big revelation. And the older fellows in the audience, and that were in their late 40s, and all agreed that they had erred in that manner, and they had thought that they could kick back and relax, so to speak. Now, for those that are high-tech, technology, internet-related, it's even more important that you don't lay back, because the industry is changing every minute, every second, and we talk a lot about return on the minute, not return on investment. We also had an unusual group that we had some kids that had been in trouble with the law, and not giving away any secrets about them, but since I had been in trouble getting arrested as a young man, we had some examples of that, and I could relate to them and talking about how you recover from some of these things. In my case, it was all alcohol related. In their case, some cases it wasn't alcohol related. In some cases it was drug related. In some cases it was where they actually had made mistakes as young men and had paid the price to society and are now making amends for some of the wrongdoings that they have done. And I showed them how they could use the QLA model to enhance that and, if you will, make amends quicker. While going through the seminar data, and it's up to about 1,700 slides now, it always amazes me that the kids do not understand that once they get out of the seminar, it's an ongoing process where we'll be getting weekly reports. I will be commenting on those weekly reports, and I will be offering not constructive criticism in all cases, but criticism in how they spend their weeks, what they do, or more importantly, what they don't do. Everybody in the group, with a nod of the head or a positive comment, said that they understood, though reluctantly, that they are a product of who they've been raised by, who they've hung around with, and currently who their friends are. Some that have made breakthroughs have said that they've changed their pattern or their relationships in the past, and that's including their significant others. We discussed in the statistic for the seminar is approximately, and we stopped counting at 50%, a 50% breakup of business partnerships and personal relationships. And they were somewhat shocked about that. They weren't so shocked about the breakup of business relationships, but they were very shocked about the 50+% of personal relationships. And we gave several examples, some examples of the people that were attending the seminar that they could understand why a business partnership through naivete they had made it didn't work out, and they split up. But they were more reluctant to admit that their personal relationship with a significant other, either through a long-term committed relationship or a marriage, was wrong, and that they admitted that they had done wrong for themselves and for the other partner, for that matter, and that it was ended. Because we get involved in personal relationships for all the same bad reasons we get involved in business relationships, and we discussed that at length. Now, going back, and I said that I was going to discuss stuff going back 6 decades, and I've said that the first high-performance thing that I ever did accomplish was graduation from Officer Candidate School at Fort Benning, Georgia, in 1967. And before that, I was just a smart-ass kid that got in a lot of trouble, didn't get very good grades. Although C+ grades is what I had, it doesn't seem. It seemed better than some of the kids that got thrown out of school along with me. I've made mention more than once that I was expelled from school 3 times before I was 10 years old for various acts, 2 of which were acts of violence, and I rebelled strongly against my authoritarian dad. But as I told my father in latter years, my strict habits and my code of honor, so to speak, I attribute to my father, who was a very strict disciplinarian policeman, served in 2 wars, Second World War, Korean War, and I'm a product of that. And he was certainly an alpha male, and a lot of people say that I'm an alpha male. And the examples that we asked about for the students or the attendees, there wasn't but possibly one person that had an alpha role model at home, and the results were pretty obvious. Weak decision making, poor choices, poor discipline, and heretofore they asked themselves why. Now, I don't know if you'll consider that a reflection, what I just said, of my past 6 decades of being a high-performance person, or you'll consider it a confession. And again, I want to thank Grant Cardone for the idea of doing this format in the back of my car. I think I misspoke what this car, new car that I have, which is a 2015 extended wheelbase Phantom Rolls Royce that is a gift from my lovely wife, an early gift for my birthday, even though my birthday isn't for a few more months. And I will be giving these podcasts to and from the airports that I fly in, and I'm picked up with these cameras, and in some point close to the actual taping, they will be put on the air, and they have nothing to do with the Ask the $50 Billion Man questions that we have, which we will continue. This seminar had our first winner of the Ask the $50 Billion Man contest. He was from Bulgaria. His name was Alex, and it was interesting to see how he interfaced with the other seminar attendees. He was a relatively young guy. I believe he was 31 years old. He was a computer programmer. I believe he went to school and studied computer science, and he wasn't out of place vis-a-vis his education or his background, other than the fact that he was there as a winner of the contest. And he will be reacting and complying with the weekly reports just as the others, and he will be participating in the monthly conference call. The attendees' first report is due this coming Sunday midnight. I'm thinking now we're driving to the airport, and my wife and I are going to renew our vows at the magnetic North Pole, having done it a few years ago at the South Pole, and I get comments and emails and tweets, etc. You and your wife, lead a blessed life, or words to that effect. Well, we do. We have a lot of choices, a lot more choices than most people, but we've worked very hard for, I've worked for almost 50 years, and my wife's worked for more than 30 years. We've worked very hard to accumulate what we have, and so we have more choices than you, or for most, not everybody. Certainly other people have more choices than we do, but it's a pay price to action. We've sacrificed a lot of things over the years that you perhaps haven't been willing to sacrifice. One of the things that came up in discussion is that a seminar that we might have over Christmas, and which would start approximately the Christmas Eve and would run through New Year's, the day after New Year's, the people would leave. So that would make it slightly longer than the 8-day experience that we currently have. Now, when I mentioned it as a throwaway line, basically, to show commitment. I wonder how many people will show commitment, the same level of commitment that the people that attended over Easter week. The seminar was started on April Fool's, and it went through Good Friday, Easter Sunday, and a good portion of Holy Week. And when I set up the seminar, I didn't even think about it. I didn't know what Easter was. Didn't care when Easter was. So when I said that, well, I wonder what if I set up a seminar on over Christmas, what the response will be. Well, the response has been pretty positive. We already have people that, based on watching the YouTube seminar clips, that have said that they want to make reservations for the seminar over Christmas. This happened for about 3 or 4 days in a row. We've also, the people that were in attendance for the seminar said that they wanted to come back for Christmas, which is, would be only 8 or 9 months after their initial experience at the castle. So depending on the feedback and the people that have interest for an extended seminar, at an extended cost, we could very well have that seminar, and we will decide over the next couple of 3 weeks, because we'd have to make plans and other people would have to make plans. But my point is that there are people out there that are willing to give up their Easter to enhance their lives. And apparently there are people that are willing to give up their Christmas and make the sacrifice. I'm not telling or forcing or anybody to say that, don't spend your Christmas with your family. That's a choice. That's an individual choice. But that would mean that Sally and I would not be spending Christmas with our families either. So there are people that are willing to pay the price to action for success. Again, it's up to you how much you're willing to sacrifice. We had a young man who's running in the Boston Marathon attend the seminar this week. In a couple of weeks, he's running in Boston, and he's a young man from the graduate of the Air Force Academy, was an officer and had a similar background to my own. And of course, I ran in the Boston Marathon, so I was giving him some, I don't know if tips is the right word, but I ran as a team effort for the Los Angeles Athletic Club back in, I believe it was 1977, and my teammate, Mickey Gorman, won the Boston Marathon as a woman, and she was a world record holder, I believe, at that time. So, and I used to train with her, and a gentleman named Laszlo Csabori, I think is how you pronounce his name. I think he was Hungarian, and he was the second man to break the 4-minute mile behind Dr. Bannister, the Englishman. And so we not traded, because he hasn't run Boston yet, but I gave him some insights as to some of the key points in the Boston Marathon and in training. But he's a very fit guy. He's about 34 years old, not a dissimilar age that I was when I ran in Boston. We also had at least one triathlete, and we had an interesting group. One of the things that was the kids focus on quite a bit is the regimen I have, and they ask, why do I have such good habits? And I always say the same story. About 40 plus years ago, I was at a international track event just as a spectator, and I was fortunate enough to meet Jim Ryan, which is a famous miler, the most famous miler to never win a gold medal at the Olympics. He fell down in the 1968 Olympics. It's a long story, how he fell down, why he fell down, but anyway, he fell down and he didn't win a gold medal. And he told me many years ago, he says, Dan, the motivation gets us started, gets you started, gets me started, gets everybody started, but good habits are what keep you going. And I have extraordinary work habits, and I feel guilty, as I've pointed out on more than one occasion, if I don't work, if I don't go to the gym. When Sally and I are up here in the North Pole, starting in a couple of days, after we leave Oslo, Norway, we have our computers with us. Sally was just testing our satellite telephone. We will be in contact, and we will be in more contact probably than when you go on holiday or when you go on excursions, because we feel a responsibility to do that, and we know that, and we feel guilt if we don't do it. I will be taping again when we come back in about 10 days. If you have any questions, this should be out by then. We have as I mentioned, the Smell the Leather. We will be posting a Smell the Leather contest on social media for people that send the best picture of them experiencing something outside their comfort zone, like going to a Rolls dealership or a Ferrari dealership. And we've already started to get pictures on it. We will pick a few winners, and they will win very small prizes, most of which are like what would Dan do t-shirts, or just fucking do it t-shirts, etc. So we're looking forward to that. Should be some fun to see what the pictures of you kids going to the dealerships. And I say the Ferrari and the Rolls dealerships should have no problem you going there, because they'll look at you as a potential customer. But I would dress for success. I wouldn't wear your normal, like they sell holy jeans and etc. I would dress for success, and so you look more like you blend in. Okay, guys, I enjoyed this. Look forward to the next one, and talk to you soon. Peace.